Good evening and thanks for joining us. We begin with breaking news. Canada's Governor-General has resigned. Julie Payette, a scientist and former astronaut, has been accused of creating a toxic work environment for her staff. The allegations were so serious, the Prime Minister's office hired an independent consulting firm to review them. Its report has not been made public, but it is said to be scathing. The Governor-General is the Queen's representative in Canada and presides over the swearing-in of the Prime Minister, the Chief Justice of Canada, and cabinet ministers. Late today, the Prime Minister released a statement saying every employee in the Government of Canada has the right to work in a safe and healthy environment, and we will always take this very seriously. Mercedes Stephenson, our Ottawa Bureau Chief, is following this story. Mercedes, what are your sources telling you?
Donna, sources say that what is in this report was so bad, so scathing, that there was no way the Governor-General could have stayed in her job, and that the Prime Minister was not happy with what he read in this report, an already strained but functional relationship. He made the decision, those sources say, that essentially Payette had to be out of the job, and that left her with two choices. She could either choose to resign of her own compunction, as she did, or face the unprecedented scenario of the Prime Minister going to the Queen to have her fired. Julie Payette put out a statement on her resignation this afternoon in which she said she was sorry, but it's not a particularly apologetic tone. Tensions have arisen at Rideau Hall over the past few months, and for that I am sorry. She says that we all experience things differently, but we should always strive to do better, and for the good of our country and our democratic institutions, I have come to the conclusion that a new Governor-General should be appointed. So she is stepping down, but the tone of that stepping down still very interesting.
Mercedes, concerns about how Payette treated staff aren't entirely new. Some were raised in her last job with the Canadian Olympic Committee. Are there questions about the vetting process for those being considered for the role?
Absolutely, there's questions about that, because how was this not caught? How was it that reporters were able to dig this up? How is it that I and others spoke with members of her RCMP detail who talked about how they were treated? Why was it that they were not able to ensure such a high-profile position had the right person? One of the criticisms is that the Prime Minister got rid of a vetting committee Prime Minister Harper had used to establish Governor-Generals. I talked to an expert about whether or not a committee like that should be reinstated to choose the next one.
I think in light of what we're seeing now, that Justin Trudeau's decision not to use that committee, not to use that process, and come up with what looked like a star candidate on his own, somehow that didn't work out so well. So perhaps he will accept that evolved process for selection.
So, Donna, there will be questions about why the Prime Minister didn't get this right, and perhaps why he didn't act sooner.
Okay, Mercedes in Ottawa, thanks. Payette's appointment was approved by the Queen in July 2017. She was installed 3 months later. Governors-General usually serve a 5-year term. The role is especially important during a minority parliament. The Governor-General has the legal power to appoint a government and the power to dismiss it. That power, though, is limited by constitutional conventions. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Richard Wagner, will take on the Governor-General's duties until a new person is appointed.